The confrontation between Asian and European civilizations has always been an interesting topic for us to sit down together and analyze and discuss. At the present time of the 21st century, it is very difficult to make an accurate assessment of whether Asia or Europe, which continent is completely superior. However, turning back time before the Renaissance period in the 14th century, it can be affirmed that the countries in Asia were completely superior to Europe in all aspects. Empires like Dai Viet or dynasties in China and India had achieved outstanding achievements thousands of years ahead in development. So, what is the reason for the remarkable development of Asian regions in the period before the Renaissance in Europe? Overall, the breakthrough of Asian countries is the result of two main factors: nature and people. The following content will explain how factors of topography, climate, and environmental resources, along with profound influences from religion and society, have shaped and developed Eastern civilizations. Let's explore the details right below. Topography and climate have always been important factors in shaping the development of civilizations. Asia is known for its vast terrain, stretching from north to south, from east to west, creating geographical and climatic diversity. Meanwhile, Europe has a more modest terrain. Which of this diversity and modesty will be advantageous and which will be disadvantageous? Asia possesses a diverse terrain, from towering mountain ranges to vast rivers. The Asian topography changes vertically, creating mountain ranges like the Himalayas, one of the highest mountain ranges in the world, running along the length of the continent. These mountain ranges, although natural barriers that make movement and trade difficult, create unexpected benefits. This separation has helped Asian civilizations develop independently, forming unique languages, writing systems, and cultures. For example, China, with its feudal dynasties, developed the Chinese characters and distinctive Chinese culture, while India developed the Devanagari script system and profound Hindu culture. Similarly, large river systems like the Yangtze and Mekong not only provide water sources and means of transportation, but also create fertile plains, the cradle of agricultural civilizations. However, it cannot be denied that these rivers also create flood risks and water management challenges. Meanwhile, Europe with its vast plains allows countries in the region to interact more frequently, exemplified by the European Union. This causes countries to develop not in absolute independence, but with influence from other countries. While this has the potential for developing cooperation, to reach the current process, war was inevitable. The climate of Asia is highly diverse, ranging from tropical climates in Southeast Asia to temperate climates in East Asian regions like China and Korea. The differences in climate not only affect agriculture and daily life, but also influence military strategies. For example, people living in tropical regions may face difficulties when moving and fighting in temperate zones and vice versa. This reduces the possibility of invasion and helps maintain peace in the region. In contrast, Europe's relatively uniform temperate climate contributes to the even development of agriculture and culture. However, this very uniformity reduces the diversity and richness in life, making cultural exchange more difficult. You cannot exchange resources or culture with neighboring countries that are identical to your own. When hungry, one will seek food, has been an inevitable law of humanity. With terrain spanning many latitudes, Asia has been gifted with rich flora, fauna, and mineral resources. This not only helps maintain a stable life for the people, but also allows countries to exploit resources to enhance their military potential. In contrast, Europe lacks resources and food compared to Asia, leading to countries in the region frequently invading neighboring areas to seize resources. In this section, we will begin to explore the following four main points. First, the abundance of resources in Asia. Asia, with its fertile plains and rich minerals, early formed great civilizations. Large plains such as the Yellow River Basin in China and the Indus River in India not only provide abundant water sources, but are also suitable for agricultural development. These areas have become the cradle of rice-based civilizations, while also providing enough food to sustain a large population. For example, China, with the Yellow River and Yangtze River delta plains, has developed strongly thanks to high agricultural production capacity. Abundant minerals such as copper, iron, and tin help boost industry and military. This not only helps China become economically self sufficient, but also creates conditions for them to expand their territory and assimilate neighboring countries. Second, the resource challenges of Europe. In contrast, Europe, with its terrain mainly consisting of plains and a simpler temperate climate, does not have the abundance of resources like Asia. This leads to European countries frequently having to invade neighboring lands to seize resources. The vast plains make wars occur continuously, and countries are often in a state of war with each other. This is also why Europe has a feudal system where those with high power and even kings find it difficult to give orders. These wars often occur between countries of equal strength, leading to a balance of power in battles. For example, throughout European history, wars such as the 30 Years' War and the Napoleonic Wars occurred between countries with relatively equal military and economic strength, lasting long and being costly. Third, the rapid development and dominance in Asia. Large civilizations with abundant food such as China early formed powerful kingdoms. With rich resources and high agricultural production capacity, China quickly invaded and assimilated neighboring countries, establishing a vast and unified territory. Asians early built powerful empires such as the Han, Song, Ming dynasties in China, or the Maurya Empire in India. These empires not only developed strongly in terms of military, but also had strong administrative and cultural systems, helping to maintain stability and prosperity for a long time. In contrast, Europe, with countries close to each other and lacking diversity in resources, had to face many continuous wars and found it difficult to maintain long-term unity. Finally, an example from the Americas. The Americas provide an interesting example of how environmental resources influence the development of civilizations. Before the Europeans arrived, the Americas had many great civilizations, such as the Aztecs and Incas. However, the terrain stretching from north to south, with many natural barriers, such as the Andes Mountains and the Atacama Desert, caused these civilizations to develop in isolation and without any valuable resources at that time. The isolation and scarcity of resources made these empires large but poor due to the lack of any cultural exchange or resource exchange. When Europeans discovered and invaded the Americas, they quickly gained the upper hand thanks to superior technology and unity in combat. This shows that terrain and resources not only affect the internal development of a civilization, but also determine the ability to defend and expand when faced with external forces. Through analyzing the terrain, climate, resources, and environment of Asia and Europe, we have seen that natural factors play an important role in shaping the development of civilizations. Asia, with its diverse terrain and varied resources, has helped countries develop independently and create unique cultures, while Europe, with its uniform terrain, has created conditions for frequent interaction and conflict. However, natural factors are not everything. To better understand the development and decline of civilizations, we need to consider the human factor. Religion, intelligence, and skillfulness in management and strategy have contributed significantly to the formation and maintenance of powerful empires. Now, let's explore deeper the influences of religion and human intelligence in shaping the history of the East and the West. The fact that most of Europe follows Christianity is also related to its flat terrain, while Asia has many major religions with significant influence, such as Islam, Hinduism, Confucianism, and Buddhism. It's noteworthy that Christianity doesn't view monarchs as deities, whereas religions like Hinduism, Islam, and Confucianism regard rulers as children of gods or those who communicate with deities. However, the question arises, why did Christianity only appear in Europe in the 1st century, while the major religions in Asia had existed for thousands of years before that? The early formation of civilizations in Asia. Natural factors helped Asia form nations with earlier civilizations. As civilizations developed, the need for writing to communicate, store, and disseminate information also increased to manage society. In Europe, small countries were often organized as areas under the control of lords. Castles in Europe were where lords ruled, surrounded by residential areas. A country could have hundreds of castles dividing power. Because castles were small areas, management didn't require much effort and only needed to focus on controlling the spirit of the people through deities. In countries with vast territories like those in Asia, oral transmission of divine matters was not feasible, and a clear religious system, including texts and illustrations, was needed. For example, China developed the Confucian system with clear classics and moral philosophy, helping to maintain stability and effectively manage a large country. Similarly, Hinduism, with its Vedas and Upanishads, is not only a religious foundation, but also a social and legal system. The late rise of Christianity in Europe. Christianity appeared in Europe around the 1st century and quickly became the Orthodox religion. The development of Christianity is related to the flat terrain and the dispersion of small countries. Before Christianity emerged, Europe only had an unclear and scattered religious system. When Christianity arose, it brought a clear and organized religious system with the Bible and specific doctrines. This helped unify the spirit and manage society more effectively. The Crusades demonstrate the wide-ranging influence of Christianity in promoting war and territorial expansion. For example, from around the 11th to the 13th century, the Crusades were organized to reclaim the Holy Land from Muslims, proving the unity and strength of an organized religion. The diversity and flexibility of European society before the advent of Jesus Christ and Christianity. Large empires like Rome and Greece had developed extremely powerfully. However, they lacked an orthodox religious and ideological system to unify their vassal states and conquered territories. As a result, these empires often allowed cultural and religious diversity within their territories. The Roman Empire was one of the first empires to implement a policy of religious freedom. They allowed conquered peoples to maintain their own beliefs in the hope that this would help stabilize society. Rome understood that religion was a powerful ideology and people might rebel if they felt their faith was threatened. For example, the Roman Empire allowed Jews to continue practicing their religion, and it was only when Christianity became the Orthodox religion that religious conflicts began to occur. The Greek Empire was similar. Greek city-states also maintained cultural and religious diversity. The gods of ancient Greece were not only gods of the Greeks, but were also accepted and worshipped by various ethnic groups in the region. This diversity created a flexible and culturally rich environment. When empires weakened, with the integrity of nationalities and distinct identities, vassal states and conquered peoples had strong motivation to fight for independence. This contributed to the preservation and restoration of cultures and nations after the collapse of empires. The homogeneity and imposition of Asian society. In contrast to Europe, Asian countries often had a clear and unified orthodox religious and ideological system that was widely propagated. Asian societies were often strict and dogmatic, forcing small conquered countries to adhere to their religious and ideological systems. China is a typical example of ideological imposition. China always tried to assimilate neighboring ethnicities and countries by spreading Confucianism and Chinese ideas. This helped China maintain internal unity and stability, but also led to the disappearance of many ethnicities and cultures. For example, the Cham people in Vietnam were almost completely assimilated under Chinese rule and Vietnamese dynasties. Another example is Hinduism with its strict caste system, which imposed a specific social system, deeply influencing the social structure and development of neighboring regions. Islam also had a strong influence in South Asia, but maintained homogeneity within Islamic countries. The fact that Asian countries often imposed their religious and ideological systems on conquered territories caused weaker countries to gradually be assimilated and disappear, like Champa. Through analyzing the terrain, climate, resources, and environment of Asia and Europe, we have clearly seen that natural factors play a crucial role in shaping the development of civilizations. Asia, with its diverse topography and varied resources, has helped countries develop independently and create distinct cultures, while Europe's uniform terrain has facilitated frequent interactions and conflicts. However, natural factors are not everything. We also need to consider the human element. Religion, intellect, and skillfulness in management and strategy have contributed significantly to the formation and maintenance of powerful empires.